Hello all you crazy people out there, my name is Michael, I like wizards and dragons and making games, and let's make some games. So we've been moving along fairly swiftly on the Bullet Hell game, and we've got some fun effects, we've got shooting, we've got a couple different enemy types, we've got some pickup effects that allow you to do fun things. Next I'm going to be doing some more enemy types, before sorting them into waves, and implementing some sort of game loop system which allows waves to be defined and foes to swoop in from the sides of the screen at the beginning of every wave and that kind of thing. So let's start simple. Let's just have, let's do the one where the foe chases the player down first. That should be fairly simple. I want to... Okay, you know what I'm going to do before I do anything else is I'm going to start organizing this asset browser. Let's create a group. We're going to create a group for bullets. I'm going to stick that in there. We're going to create a group for foes. I'm going to stick those in there. We're going to stick a group for... actually, you know what? Let's have the asset browser hierarchy mirror the like the inheritance hierarchy in the game. So foes are under entities and like foe radials under foes and that sort of thing. And lastly, let's make a group for pickups. And this can be all of these. That can include the general pickup code, which is like the struct representing the odds. All of these sprites down here, these are programmer art. I will sort all of these into the programmer art folder. By the time the game is finished, this will be gone. But yeah, let's start with that. We're gonna organize the asset browser a bit. I can minimize bullets, I can minimize the pickups, and I can commit a change. So we're gonna have a foe that chases you down. Let us have SPR foe chase. And I'm going to make this, let's give this another color. How about like blue? And I believe I did, if I were to look in the content section of this project management board, I do have a couple of faux, like, actual themed designs. So, for example, ants, flies, gnats, aphids, and that sort of thing, whatever. Because I just love making insects and other creepy crawlers the antagonists. Each of these will have their own set of behaviors. But right now, I'm going to be working on the technical things. A lot of these will probably involve a fair amount of work to make them, to allow me to build them to basically the spec that I want from the pieces that we've put together right now. But that sounds like a problem for future me. For example, shooting dense bullets in a spiral for a grasshopper. That is going to be springing off of this one here, this behavior. Okay. Just want to get established that this is not going to be a game about abstract shapes. This is just going to be the building blocks of a game with an actual theme later on. So... entity foe chase, let's say. And I can open you up, I can give you the sprite, and in the create event, the shoot. I think I'm not going to allow you to shoot. I think we're just gonna chase us down. There is already code in the player for moving towards the mouse cursor, and that looks like this. However, instead of having the entity foe chase moving towards the mouse cursor, I am going to override this event inherited, and I'm going to have this this thing move towards the player's position. Let's see. Instead of moving towards self.x, self.y, or instead of a mouse.x, mouse.y rather, let's move towards target x and target y. Like this. And if I were to stick one of these guys in the room, let me get rid of all these other things that was just there for testing now. I'm gonna have two of them, and they should start to chase me down. And they do not have a movement speed defined. They probably should, right? What's, I don't want it to be fast. What's the player's movement speed? Let's make it like half of that, which should just be fast enough to keep the player from getting comfortable where they are and force them to keep moving. Although typically in games like this, the player wants to do that anyway. But regardless, movement speed is 12. So I will make... Let's make it a little more than half. Let's make it 8. So the movement speed of these things is... Okay, that's actually a lot faster than I was expecting it to be. Let's make it 4. Oh, you know what? This is not delta timed. Are you going to... Okay, so you will perfectly converge on me later. Goodbye. That still feels a little fast. I'm surprised that... I guess it's because the player, like, the one spawns close to the player. So can I like run you around? Can I lead you to the top and bottom of the screen and then like get under you? Yeah. All right. Foes can chase you. Why is... Oh, did GitHub not like actually detect all of the changes when I was organizing everything? Oh well, I do not feel like sorting this out. Foes that can chase you plus some more asset browser organization. Okay. It's possible that I will want to give these things a little bit of inertia so they don't... The movement speed like builds up to this after a time. We'll see. That will come down to game feel, as is done at the end, somewhere down here. But for now, chase the player. I'm surprised I gave that like 15 points worth of trouble, because that was only a couple lines of code. Okay, what's next? Oh, I also said that I would properly delta time movement speed. So. Again, as a recap for anyone who was not here the last time I talked about this, I've made myself a macro for delta time so that I can mainly so that I can like have control over how fast the game flows, and also so that I can define my rates of change in terms of like value per second instead of value per frame. This is not real in air quotes delta time. GameMaker does have something for that. I am not using that. This is just a value that is the reciprocal of the game speed. So we will always be assuming that it's 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second. We won't be accounting for like variation in the actual game speed, because that is a whole can of worms that I don't really want to deal with. And this will allow me to do a couple things. One fun thing that you can do with this that I have not talked about is like implementing a game slowdown. So you could like implement a global slowdown and it will still be smooth. Without having to manually like cut the speed of everything in the game in half or anything like that. And I may or may not have fun with that later. We'll see. Let's see. We'll also be multiplying the chasing foes movement speed by delta time. And what is 12 times 60? That should be 720. And what is 3 times 60? This should be 180, because this now needs to be in terms of units per second instead of units per frame. Okay, so the game is running at the same speed. I'm taking damage every time those guys converge on me. This was not actually a card on this board. I'm going to commit that as delta time in parentheses kinda. Foe behavior, aiming at the player. That's going to be another one. Let me make SPR foe aim. And let's give this a green. Again, the first color that I saw in the color palette. I am going to ENT foe aim, and we're going to implement this guy over here. Bullet spread. I'm going to give you a little bit more variation in your bullet spread, because I want you to be for lack of better words, a little bit bad at aiming. Just so that the player doesn't like constantly have to worry about getting sniped, and so that there's a little bit more randomness. So how did I implement variation in shot angle the first time? I'm just gonna borrow this, and the shot angle needs to be basically, instead of all this, the shot angle needs to be var. No, wait. This is the one that I'm looking for. Point direction between self.x, self.y, target x, target y, plus a random amount of bullet spread. Okay, 15 degrees is... Okay, 15 degrees is a little bit more bullet spread than the regular entities foes have. So let us go back to the room, let us get rid of these test objects, let us have a couple faux aim, and let us run the game to see if this is going to do what I want it to. Okay, it does. I think I'm actually going to give you more spread. Let's go with something maybe 30 degrees. Because I don't want to constantly have the player worry about, yeah, now you're missing a little bit more often, but not too often. And if I were to move farther away from both of you, you would miss more frequently, I think. Okay, I think that's good. We can close this one. Next, shoot in a spiral. That is going to behave an awful lot like radial. The difference being that instead of shooting in 8 directions at once, it's going to be spread out over a period of time. So let us create a new programmer art SPR foe spiral, and this can be purplish blue. I don't know exactly how you would describe that color. This looks like the color of like the default vector in a normal map or something. It's like half red, half green, and full blue. Is that actually the color exactly? Now I'm curious. Not quite, although it's very close. Alright, the color that I'm thinking of would be more like this, but who cares? This is going to be faux spiral. I am going to create a duplicate of faux radial, and that's going to be faux spiral. And the shoot method is, again, going to look very similar here. Our shot cooldown, the number of shots per second that we're going to fire, I think is going to be a little faster. Spread can be 0. Shots per second can be, let's make it 20. And I can say self.last shot angle. We'll start them off by shooting downwards, which is going to be 270. And instead of shooting in a for loop, we can just shoot directly, and the angle can be self.last shot angle. Like this, and then plus equals, let's say increase by like 10 degrees every shot. And can we mod equals in GameMaker? We can mod equals in GameMaker. Okay. Let us get rid of those guys. Let us implement, actually give you the spiral sprite. And let us drop a couple spiral foes in the room to make sure they're working. Something that might be fun, although might be a little bit more complex than I really want to do here. There we go, that's a spiral. Okay, this is actually a bit of a challenge. Okay, wow. That's challenging. There is no way I'm going to be good enough to actually not die to anything like this. Let's dial those numbers down a little bit. Let's make you only shoot like 15 shots per second. Okay, that's more reasonable. See, that's more reasonable. I'm still doing badly here, but it's like I can expect someone who's better at bullet hell games than me to survive here. I really need to make the player's hitbox smaller because this is a little much. But okay, spiral froze. Excellent. This can get dragged over to the completed list. Faux behavior, explode after an amount of time. I'm going to... Okay, this is gonna be like... I'll use the foe that does absolutely nothing as a base. Yeah, let's use the foe that does absolutely nothing as a base. SPR foe. Boom. Okay, you know what? That's a stupid name. Let's call it explode. And your color can be like a lighter gray for now. And we can duplicate the foe that does nothing. Let's see, give you the appropriate sprite. And let's see, how many shots per second do we want to shoot? I think I want these to last like 10 seconds on the screen and then they just blow up and that's it. And then they release a bunch of bullets. And to do that, shots per second would have to be something like 0.1. Actually, you know what? It needs to be, shot cooldown needs to be initialized. And I'm going to initialize this to 10 instead. And once this happens, we're just going to destroy ourselves, and we will borrow a bunch of this code. And we will just create a bunch of bullets flying in random directions. So I can say... Let's just use a repeat loop here for the sake of simplicity. Shot angle can be a random number between 0 and 360. Okay. And I need to actually test those. All right, you, goodbye. We're gonna just cancel. Wait. Oh, that was a sprite. We are going to drag some bombs onto the field, and these are going to, after 10 seconds, wait for it. Boom. Okay. So that is fine. I think I would actually like the bullet density to be a little bit higher here. Actually, you know what? Maybe if I want them to also explode when the player kills them. This is reasonable, right? So let me try running the game and okay. They're not actually removed from play. Does instance destroy have to go in the die method? Is that where... Wow, this workspace is a mess. Is that where I put the... Okay, yeah, instance destroy has to go in the die method. Alright. Well, having them shoot repeatedly upon taking damage is kind of funny, but we'll not have that. First, let's just get rid of you normally, and then we should still have the functionality that after 10 seconds you just boom. Perfect. So I will up the bullet density a little bit, so number of shots can be more like, I don't know, 12. That'll be 50% more dense, but not ridiculous. Okay. Yeah, that density looked okay. Let's just wait another couple seconds for these guys to go. Alright. Sufficiently challenging, but not ridiculous the way that the the other ones were. So I'm going to cross this off. Are there any other... any other faux like archetypes I might want to implement. Tutorial bug, no shooting. That's essentially the foe that does nothing. Low damage, low HP, but they have their own damage shield. Okay. Aphids shoot at you slowly. These guys should be like the also an easy one. I'll move that up so that we can sort of put these in order of like interestingness and difficulty. Grasshopper, spiral, pill bugs, high HP, explode on death, which is essentially the one that I just did. Minus the fact that they like auto explode. Centipedes shoot straight ahead, can chase you down. Segments represent HP. That might actually be hard. I don't know if I'll do that. Scorpions, yes, I know they're not bugs. Passive unless you get close, then shoot at you in short bursts. Japanese beetles, scarab beetles, whatever you want to call them, shoot bullets in a ring. We've done those. Hornets, aggressive bullets home in on you. Have not done homing bullets yet. That'll probably be another bullet subclass, but that'll be a time for later. Bagworms. We had an infestation of these like in the bushes once. It was not fun to get rid of. High HP explode if you don't take them out fast enough, which is also like the ones we just did. And then some potential boss designs with big scary bugs. All right, we'll worry about that later. Until then, I am going to end things off here. This was a bit of a shorter video than the last couple. This is more the length that I want these to be. Let's see, next time. Okay, let's do waves the next time, and hopefully this won't take too long, and I'll be able to have like faux swooping in, swooping out behavior in the same video. We'll see. So this is our progress towards Sprint 1. We are about 2/3 of the way there. Very nice. This is our progress towards the game as a whole. We're about 1/5 of the way there, 1/6 of the way there. That's also nice. My name is Michael. I like wizards and dragons and making games. I hope you all found this interesting. Next time we're going to be doing these things. If you want to see the code for this project, look for the GitHub repository down in the video description. You need to commit this. Look for the 0.5 release, which is going to be the progress that we made towards this week. I have a Patreon, so if you want to contribute towards these videos being made, there will be links to that in all the usual places. You could see some fun things like your name in the credits. You could hear a shout out of your name at the end of every video. You could see a preview of my future plans. And if you wanted to pledge, I would definitely appreciate it. Otherwise, I try to post about 2 game dev videos a week, one of these and one tutorial. I hope you all found this interesting, and I will see you all later. Special thanks to Zenjamin, Then Nothing Happened, Squarecrow, Sindra Larson, Posho, Gunnar Clovis, Game Maker, Emily Koyo, Edward Holt, DJ Gibbles, and Army Umbrester for supporting these videos. If you want to see your name in the credits or hear yourself shouted out at the end like this, head on over to the Patreon page down in the video description to join the fun.